Hey, listen, as you're headed back to your seats, if you don't have a Bible, and especially if you have it on the cart, it'd be a great time to get it because we're going to be in the Word a good bit today. And Ben, again, thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Y'all doing all right? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. Hey, I think I seen some parents in the room, and there have been some are like, where's the other parent thing? Okay. Well, we had only planned on one parent gathering, which was last week, but you are more than welcome to stay and hang out and hear the teaching that your students have. I think it'll help you have some great conversations. So feel free to make yourself at home in the room. All right. So this is week 2 of our controlled series. And last week, Emmanuel was in here and he was talking to us, and he hit us with a pretty potent question. And that question was, what is controlling you? Y'all remember that? Anybody remember that? That was like his first question, which is kind of like a big question, right? Like, what do you mean, what's controlling me? I'm all good. And he said, it's not like who or, is there something controlling you? The question is what? Like we kind of go throughout our lives following or being controlled by something, whether it is the Spirit of God or something else. And so that's where we were last week. Matter of fact, in Romans chapter 8, it says, you're not controlled by the sinful nature. This is the Apostle Paul. You're not controlled by the sinful nature, but you are controlled by the Spirit. Okay? And so, and sometimes when we find ourselves out of control, we find ourselves dealing with a word called addiction. How many of you have heard that word before? Yep, I think most of us in here. Who wants to take a stab at saying what the word addiction means? Anybody? You got it? Okay. Your hand was up first. I appreciate that. So exciting. Hi, what's your name?
Caroline.
Everybody say, hi, Caroline. Awesome. Okay. Well, how would you define addiction?
Oh, never mind.
Okay, that's all right. All right, okay. We'll come this way. Thank you, Caroline, for trying. Sometimes it's kind of hard, isn't it? I know. I got it. Okay, so, all right. Hi, y'all. Y'all good? All right, here we are. Addiction. You want to define it for us?
Addiction is when you have something that it's hard to not follow more than God. You treasure it more than God.
Okay, all right. So you treasure it more than God. Yes, it's kind of one of those things that kind of has you. You got your hand up to. Awesome, thank you. All right.
Addiction is something that you do over and over again and that cannot stop, and it's really hard for you to continue doing when you already continue doing it for so long.
Yes, okay, excellent. All right, so those are good. There'll be more times, don't worry, those of you who are like, ooh, I got something, there'll be more opportunity. Yes, we can go to that slide that has there it is, all right? And y'all are both right. Okay? It's just kind of this thing that is more to you than the most important thing. She said God, and it's this thing that that kind of has you. You're just compelled to do it. So here's what the definition that we got out of the dictionary says. Addiction is the compulsion. That means I can't stop. I gotta one more Kit Kat. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Y'all with me? All right. So it is the compulsion to continually engage in an activity or behavior despite the negative impact, right? Okay? So you're doing it and oh, this is not really good for me to be doing, okay? So despite the negative impact on the person's ability to remain mentally or physically healthy, all right? And the person may find the behavior rewarding, in their mind psychologically, right? They might find it rewarding or get a high while engaged in the activity. But maybe later they feel guilty. They feel guilt and remorse, right? That's oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. That's what remorse is. Even overwhelmed by the consequences of that choice. Does that make sense? So you got this thing that you're ooh, I can't help but stop doing it, right? And I just keep going, But I know I should not get one more donut. I'm already wired by the sugar, right? And I should not get one more, but I can't help it. And there you go, powdered sugar all over your face. You know what I'm talking about? right? Okay? And that's kind of a funny option, but there are many others that are harder, right? They're kind of worse. And so when we're dealing with, in this series, Controlled, we're really talking about how do we deal with addiction, or I love how Celebrate Recovery calls it. They also call it our hang-ups. Because sometimes you're like, I'm not addicted. I mean, that's a big word, right? You need to like go see somebody. I just got I got some hang-ups. I got some stuff that it's not so good, right? Okay? Either way, whether we want to call it an addiction or hang-up, a bad habit, here's the point. We're out of control, right? We want to stop doing it, but we just keep going back. You get me? Not like this, if you get me. Okay, so that's kind of what we've been dealing with, all right? But this week, we are going to shift from, talking about the addiction, but how do we really get through it? And we're going to talk about a word called surrender. Can you say that? All right, say surrender. All right, surrender is the word we're going to, but before we get into kind of the definition of that, I want to go back. Y'all put that car picture up there, please, if you don't mind. Go back one. There it is. All right, who in the room knows what this is? Any? It's a kind of car, yeah? Oh, yeah, close. It does look like it because it's got all like the cameras and things on it, right? Okay. Yes, it is one of those self-driving cars, right? Has anybody in here happened to see one of those? Okay, a few? In real life, you seen one of those? Awesome. Okay. My daughter goes to school in California, and they are using them in California. So when I've gone to go pick her up, there was this one time where I'm driving my car, and I look over, and there's this other car. Has a bunch of stuff like that on it, and there's the driver's seat where no one is, and then there's a person. And, and when you're driving, many of y'all don't know this yet, but when you're driving and you look over, and where the driver's seat is, there is nothing, that makes you a little nervous, just saying, okay? So anyway, but this person's in there just kind of reading their paper, doing whatever they're doing, and it is driving them along. And I was like, I don't know if I'd be good with that. So I'm curious, with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, if you like, self-driving car, sign me up. I want to ride first. Just put me in it. I would do that all day. I want a thumbs up. If you're like, bruh, I don't know about this self-driving car business. AI's got me kind of freaked out, right? And so if you're like, no way, and you want to do like this, so you're like, I'm not doing it, all right? All right, I want to hear. I want to see. Okay, we got some down here. Oh, we got someone who's in the middle, like, I don't know, maybe. Okay, I want to hear. First I want to hear from the thumbs up people, okay? Why would you love to do it? Okay, here we go.
I wouldn't have to learn how to drive.
Hey, he's like, that's less to do. I hear you, okay. Thumbs up, why would you do it?
It sounds cool.
Sounds cool, yeah, it does sound kind of cool. I have to agree with that. What about you?
It sounds cool, I guess.
Yeah, sounds cool, okay. All right, you got a thumbs down. I'm going to get back to you. Any more thumbs up? Oh, we're way over here. See, y'all sitting way over here. It's really hard to get to you because, like, all the chairs are there, and y'all are here. Okay, thumbs up, people? Yes. Why? Yes.
Because it's interesting.
Okay, it's interesting. It's new. Okay, yes?
No parents.
Okay, I'm not sure if that's exactly how that thing works, but we'll take it. Okay. All right, are you a thumbs up? Okay. What do you got?
You can read books.
You can read books. You can do other things besides. Okay. For my thumbs down people, we're going to start back here, and then we're going to make our way all the way back around. Okay, here we go. Thumbs down. Why not?
Oh, because I just don't feel safe.
Okay, you're like, what? There's no. It's a car driving itself. Okay.
It might decide it wants to kill me.
It might decide it wants to kill you. Wow. This is a very intellectual vehicle. Okay.
Okay. Also, what she said, it could kill you, and also that sometimes it could go too fast and you can get in a wreck.
Okay. So it could go too fast. Yeah.
It seems cool, but like I don't want to die.
It seems cool, but I don't want to die. That's the quote of the night right there. Okay. Yeah.
First, we can't walk places. Now we can't drive places.
Oh, it's like they're taking away all our freedoms. We can't. Okay, got it.
Like, I feel like scientists like sometimes overestimate how good it is. Like, I feel like it's not completely fail-proof.
Okay, so they're like hyping it up way too much, and it's not fail-proof. Are you having your hand up?
Because the whole time, my dad would be judging the route that it was taking.
I gotta listen to my dad judge around. Like, why is it going this way? What's it thinking? Yes.
If it's smart enough to drive, it's smart enough to kill you.
Oh man, it's just too smart. Okay. I told you I was gonna come here, and I'm gonna come back this way. Okay, here we go. Why not?
The reason why is because, like...
Wait, is it why yes or why no? Why no? Okay.
Because, like, you could probably die because, like, it's like whenever you've seen these videos, like, oh, there's a new car that you're, like, it's able to drive without you, like, not driving. Yeah. Like, then these other videos are just, like, having car accidents and stuff.
Okay, so you're like, yeah, I've seen stuff that, like, makes me go, no, wait.
All right, so let's say, like, there's a car crash ahead, and, like, the car knows it's going to be fatal, but if it goes another direction, it's going to kill a pedestrian. It's going to kill me. I don't want to die. Okay, so it's going to make a decision that you don't want it to make, right? It's got two tough decisions, and it might take you out instead of them. Okay, that's like real talk right there. Okay, I'm coming back.
It's like, it's lazy. You're being lazy.
Okay, you're like, oh, I don't want to be that lazy. Okay.
What if it like malfunctions and you like die?
Okay. A lot of malfunctioning and dying. Okay. Wow. Vanderveer in the back has something. Okay.
What if it gets hacked?
What if it gets hacked? What if a computer hacker comes in and steals its brain and you don't know what's going to happen? Wow. We have seen some movies. Okay, here we go.
I trust myself more than a metal hunk of junk.
All right, trust yourself more than a metal hunk of junk.
It does not seem safe.
Okay, it doesn't seem safe, and?
I'm like in the middle because it would be cool, but at the same time, I have a brain and it doesn't.
Okay, all right. And last one here. Okay, I'll get you two, and that'll be the last one.
If you have like a teenager, it can sneak out of the house and take the car, even if he doesn't know how to drive.
Okay, so like you're looking out for like teenagers and parents and stuff like that. And last one here.
Because like no matter how smart something is, there's still glitches. Like, and I'm not prepared to take that risk.
All right, there's still glitches. I'm not prepared to take the risk. Yes.
It decides where it takes you. Like it can just like get hacked, and the hacker can take you to where they like live or something.
Right, like you may want to go eat at some really cool place, and it decides to take you to Jack in the Box. Who knows? Okay, so all right. Thank you for giving me your honest. We have some really significant opinions in here, don't we? Yes. So listen. When someone gets in that, can y'all put that car back up if you don't mind? When someone gets in there and they allow the car to drive, they are surrendering their right to drive. You realize that? They're letting something else decide, as we have said, where to go, how fast to get there, what's the kind of route. I'm sure you've got something that you can, like, you may be able to, like, punch in the route or something. I don't know all about it, but you're no longer making those decisions, right? Okay? It's a form of surrender is what that is. And the reason why that we have trouble with it, or if we're okay with it, is we either trust it or we don't. I mean, we got a lot of different reasons why to trust or why not to trust, but the bottom line is you trust it or you don't, right? It's going to get hacked. It's going to run into something. It's going to make a bad decision. I just don't like it, you know. So, and for me, I kind of just like driving. I'm like, you know, I'm old school. I'm an old dude. We just drove. That's what we do, right? So, let's move on for a little bit. When we're talking about this surrender, okay, and letting go of really what's kind of got us, what's kind of got us controlled. Surrender is going to be the way to go. But the question is really, let's kind of put that surrender on the side and quit talking about cars for a second and how we control them and answer this question: how do I control life? How do I live a controlled life? You know? It's a significant question because I think it's something we're all trying to do. Like most people that I know, they want to live a life that's like, yeah, it feels good. I'm making some good decisions. I feel pretty nice about what I've got. Things are going well for me. We want to do that well. But the problem is, our control only goes so far. Right? How many of you can think of that thing? Maybe it's a video game, maybe it's a food item, maybe it's a place to go, maybe it's a show to watch, maybe it's I don't know, that thing that you know that, man, if I start doing this, I may be doing this for like the rest of the day into the morning until I pass out asleep. You just stuck in it. You got that thing? Anybody got? If you have that thing in your mind, raise your hand. Okay? Okay, cool. Many of us do. We've got that thing, right? Here's the issue. This is what some science research says, at least according to Adam. They say that we have a certain amount of self-control, and it is better, we have more of it at the kind of the beginning of the day. Because what happens is we go throughout the day, we kind of get tired, etc. We start losing the amount of self-control we have, and then we sleep and it resets. Okay? So here's the idea. Okay? You get done with tonight. You actually go to bed at a good hour. You get up the next morning, you're like, I feel great, right? I know that doesn't typically happen. Just play along with me, okay? So you get up and you feel great. And then you start to go about your day, and you've got things that you got to do. And like the teacher says, go do this. You don't really want to do it, but you're like, okay, I'm in, right? And you start going throughout the day, and you start getting tired and hangry, right? So we get tired and hangry. Our attitude kind of shifts a little bit, right? And when somebody says that one thing that just doesn't sit right with you, what happens? What happens? That thing that annoys you, they do that thing when you're hangry or tired. What happens? Are y'all never hangry or tired? Might you say something that you wish you think, I shouldn't have said that? Does that ever happen? Okay. To sometimes, especially like with a sibling, you might tap them a little harder to get their attention, to say, don't do that. Is that right? We do that sometimes? Yes, no? Oh, you guys just all love your siblings so much, and y'all never, ever fight. Y'all are a really good crew. I'm an only child, and if I would have had a brother or sister, I would have hit him. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is, okay? So listen, the problem is when we try to do this on our own, this self-control on our own, it runs out. We may be able to do it for a little while, and we have good intentions, you know what I'm saying? But then we get to that point where it just feels like it is too much. And so, how we figure out to live this way is the way we figure out how to live a controlled life. Here's the key. This is his next slide. Surrendering your life to Jesus is the key to a controlled life, which sounds kind of crazy because when you like surrender, you like give stuff up. But you just said, I have a controlled life, which means I'm doing something with it, right? I'm controlling it, but you just told me to give it up. So, Twan, will you make some sense, please? You following me? You see a little tension here? Okay, so here's where we're landing. Okay? The Bible talks about self-control. It is something that's given to us. I don't know if y'all remember the song, the fruits of the Spirit song? Anybody? Fruit of the Spirit is not a, you say it. Yeah, fruit of the Spirit is not a. God's word says everybody can see it if you got the fruit of the Spirit, because the fruit is joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Come on, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and right. Self-control. That's something that the Spirit of God gives us. And often, I think we're trying to make it. It's like if we found a fruit at the grocery store and went and tried to go and put it on a tree. It doesn't work that way. The fruit comes from within the tree. And so the Bible talks about the Spirit of God giving that to us, okay? So here's what it means to surrender, really, okay? And it simply means, surrender means to give up or to hand over, okay? Like if the teacher says, or your mom and dad says, they don't typically say this, use this word, but if they say surrender your phone, you're like, oh, man, right? And you're giving them the phone, right? Surrendering means to go ahead and give it up. So if we are going to surrender our lives, this is how we do it. I want you to turn to Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20. And I'm going to have to move along here real quick. Okay, if you have one of these Bibles, it is on page 1597, I believe, or close to that. Okay? Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20. Okay? And here's what it says. It says, my old self has been crucified with Christ. Okay? So I have an old way I used to live, and I killed it with Christ. It's been crucified. Okay? It's no longer I that live, so I'm not living anymore. Okay? But Christ lives in me. So Christ is doing a work in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God. How do I live in this earthly body? By doing what? By trusting in the Son of God. Say that, by trusting in the Son of God. There you go. And it says, he loves me and he gave himself for me. So listen. Remember when we were talking about the car? And I said, if you're going to surrender to the car, you're going to get in the car, it's all a matter of trust. You either trust it or you don't. Right? In Galatians chapter 2, that is what we're saying here. Jesus is saying, look, or Paul is saying about Jesus, look, there's an old way you can live that's really not self-controlled. But there's a way that you can live, and that's for Jesus, right? If you surrender your life to him, okay, crucify the old way, and you trust in him, then he's going to start living in you and doing things in you, right? And you do that, you surrender by trusting in the Son of God. And to Celebrate Recovery, one of the things that they do, or an AA group, or any of those groups that are kind of 12-step groups for recovery from addiction, one of those steps is recognizing that, man, I'm helpless to get over this on my own. And when we see that we've got an old life over here, or a life that's not working, that we're trying to control ourselves, then, and God has a life for us, we got to acknowledge, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to surrender my life to Christ. I'm going to trust him with it. Let's look at the next verse. This is in Matthew chapter 16, okay? That's also, I believe that's on page 1327. Matthew chapter 16, verses 24 and 25. 1327. Okay? Because admitting we need help is really one of the first steps. And this is what Jesus said to his disciples. If anyone wants to be my follower, he must first give up his own way. You can't do it the way you want to do it. Take up your cross and follow me. If you hang on to your life, you'll lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. Okay? Jesus is saying, listen, I know how to live, and I know how to help you do it. If you try to do it on your own, it's not going to go well. It's like somebody trying to operate some fast vehicle and they don't know how to drive. They may go fast for a short while till they hit a wall, right? Because they don't know what they're doing with it. And why should you trust Jesus? Because he knows how to live. He knows how to live so well that he lived, died, and rose again just to prove the point. You hear me? God has got this. He knows life. He knows what it's like to live it in the full. And so if we try to hang on to our own way, we're going to find ourselves controlled by other things that are out there. Or we can give up control and surrender and give it to the Lord. I want to look at another verse here in just a second. It's Matthew chapter 26, verse 39 through 42. Okay? And that is going to be on page 1344. Okay? When I say surrender here, I need you also to know something. It's not just kind of a one-time thing. Several of us in here have been baptized, and we said when we got baptized we believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and we want him to be Lord of our life. In other words, we're saying we want a Lord or a ruler is someone who is in charge, and we're willing to submit our will to him, right? Okay? That's what we're saying. And this is kind of an everyday kind of thing. It's something that we get up and we do each day. Jesus lived his life this way too. And in Matthew chapter 26, where I said we were, 26, 39 to 42, here's what's going on. He is in the Garden of Gethsemane. He knows that he is about to go to the cross, and he's taken time to pray. So it says he went a little farther, he bowed his face to the ground, praying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken from me. You hear what he's saying there? He's saying, if I don't have to do this, please take it. But yet I want your will to be done, not mine. Then he returned to his disciples. He found them asleep. He said to Peter, couldn't you watch even for just an hour? Keep watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is so weak. Then Jesus left them for a second time to pray, and he said, my Father, if this cup cannot be taken unless I drink it, your will be done. This is a surrendered life. He's going, okay, God, this is going to be hard, but I trust you. You hear me? I trust you, Lord. So here's what I want to do. For sake of time, we're going to skip a couple of these, and we're going to go down to the last slide. And I'm going to ask the band to come on up. When someone comes to you, or maybe like you see on TV or whatnot, and they have a gun or some other weapon, right? And they're trying to take somebody's money, or they're just being bad people, okay? What do people do to show that they are surrendering? Hands go up. Yeah. Okay? That's one of like the universal, look, I'm not against you here. I'm not fighting you, right? Do you know of another way that people show that they've surrendered? Yeah. White flag. In times of war or fighting, when someone like needed to go into hostile territory and they had something to say and they weren't about to fight, they weren't going over the fight, they would grab whatever they could find. Like, they didn't generally have like a white flag as a part of their flag carrying things, okay? They weren't planning on surrendering. They don't have that. They have like their national flag or whatever their flag is that represents who they are. So they find a rag or a shirt or whatever, And they go and they wave it to let them know, look, I'm coming in peace and I'm coming to talk. I may be even coming just to surrender myself. As we talk about living a controlled life, one that's controlled by God, not by other things, the key to it is surrender. We're going to sing, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have you guys stand up and y'all can come in because we're getting about to worship here. We're about to sing a song that says, I will make room for you. It is another way of saying, God, I'm surrendering. I'm making space for you to do whatever you want to do. And here's the question that I want you to consider. And when you feel like it's a yes, and here's the question. Am I willing to surrender my life to Jesus today? Am I willing to surrender my will to him right now? You can come and get one of these napkins. Like, Twan, a napkin? For real? You can't find anything better? Listen. When it's time to surrender, you just come with what you got. And you say, yes, Lord. This is what I have. I'm coming. And so as we sing, and as in your heart, you feel like, yes, I want to surrender. And go ahead and get one of these and hold on to it. You can wave it. You can pray with it. Don't use it for something to distract somebody else. We sometimes are tempted to do that. But really what we're saying is, yes, Lord, I surrender. I will make room.